Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Rockwood number 461-612. This is a kick-down door holder, is what it is. I have one removed here from the packaging for us to take a look at. So the 461 is a typical kick-down door holder. It is just a manual piece of equipment that will allow you to hold a door open. Really good for exterior openings. Good to temporarily hold the door in while packages or whatever are being brought in. Obviously, doors that are equipped with door closers or some sort of means of self-closing. Sometimes you'll put them on doors that just seem to move, creep closed, or whatever the case might be for whatever reason. These are expressly prohibited from being used on any sort of fire-rated door. Literally in NFPA 80, the standard from which code is based on. The adopted code will refer to NFPA 80 as the standard. The standard specifically calls out you can't use these on fire-rated doors. So be mindful, don't put these on fire-rated doors because a manual piece of equipment like this would violate the tenets of a fire door. Must be self-closing, must be self-latching, must be free-swinging. It's the self-closing part that's the problem. Very, very occasionally you might see hardware that would violate those tenets. You might have I've been told, I've heard in the circles of the door hardware world, there could be a hospital wing where all of the doors are in violation of something, but because it's staffed 24 hours a day in the event of an emergency, the staff has been trained to execute a certain operation on all the doors immediately. So in instances like that, you might see something that's askew of established code and standard, but a manual holder would never be, outside of an very unusual circumstance, used on a fire door. So you'll be using this on something to hold a door open. Very nice and attractive, made of solid brass in a satin bronze type finish. That's why we call it 612. It actually means it's made of bronze with a satin bronze base, satin bronze finish, but this would be a brass-based material. That will be a bronze plating, a brushed finish with a lacquer over it, okay? Now, the business end of how these works is this spring that's back here. What's nice about the Rockwood model versus others is that this will positively lock in 3 positions. You can use it as a bumper stop if you needed to. You can also hold it up and completely out of the way, and then it's down when it's in the working position. Okay? They make more than one kick-down door holder, and we'll touch on those in a moment. Now, very occasionally you'll hear of someone needing a new kick-down door holder because the spring that's in the back has failed. I've never heard that on a Rockwood model. I can tell you that the amount of spring that's back here is far more than Rockwood's competitors when it comes to that. This is a replacement tip. I believe this is a 4... Oh gosh, don't quote me. Good, you don't have to. There's a link below this video to the 461B. It's the replacement tip for this. Governed by a screwdriver. You'll be able to remove that and replace it. If you expect a tremendous amount of use on this, you might order some replacement bumpers right from the get-go because they do wear out, especially if you're having your door being held open in a like a concrete application or an abrasive floor condition. Okay, you can buy these. They're available in both gray and black. In fact, so for some reason, if you wanted black rubber tips, you would be able to order those separately. If you want black from the get-go, or you want to just clarify what color you'd like on the replacement tip, indicate that in the comment field, gray or black. Let's take some basic dimensional properties, and then we will switch to the screen view and take a look at some supporting documentation. So according to the manufacturer, the base is 2 1/4 tall, and it is 1 3/16 wide. It's going to have a dimension of 3 5/8 from the elbow, or the knee, I suppose, down to the bottom of the bumper. So they're saying 3 5/8. Yep, 3 5/8 right there. This would have a projection of about 2 inches or so, maybe 2 1/8 when it's in the held open position. It's way more than that. Forgive me, I'm reading the documentation wrong. probably closer to about 2 3/4. It's 2 1/8 from the face of the door to the center line of the holder, and then maybe out to about 2 3/4 to here, but it's 2 1/8 from here to the wall is what that is. Okay. When you install this, you're going to want to be sure to get full surface area contact to the floor. I've seen these installed where the tips are grinding against the floor. Those wear out very quickly, then they wear out the architectural metal to the point where you really need to replace it. Or it's biased in this way, wearing that down. You want to make sure that when you install this, you get the door opened, and because it's probably under closing pressure, to be able to get the door to then, to have this hold the door open and mark the locations based on where the door is going to be when you've removed holding the door, so that any sort of folding over will accomplish and you get the unit positioned not only so that you are holding the door in the position, the degree of opening that you want it to rest held open in, but of course at the proper height so all of that works together. In terms of a dimension off the edge of the door, I'd like it as close to the outside as reasonably possible. Be mindful there is hardware that can conflict with installing this, kick plates, exit device trim, things of that nature. So be mindful that you might need to move that around, or you might need to drill through some hardware to get to the door. Speaking of that, screws are included in a complementary finish. They look like they're number 8 by maybe 3/4 oval head sheet metal screws. Let's switch to the screen view and take a look at some supporting documentation. Okay, so here is the item that we are looking at, 461 and a 612 finish. Now, other finishes of this, let's take a look at what those are. .605 for polished brass, 606 for satin brass, 612 our satin bronze item, 613 for oil rubbed, 619 for satin nickel, 625 for polished chrome, 626 for satin chrome. Back to the item that we are looking at here. We have our description, which we've covered. You have your link to the gray and the black bumpers that will come up momentarily. And here they are. The gray is going to be standard. Specify if you want black or order more if you want black. There's a link to the template that's here, and that's where I was drawing the dimensional properties from. That will allow you to see all of the dimensional properties beyond what we've discussed. It will hold open in this 60-degree position. Well, pardon me. It will hold open in this 30-degree position, then straight at 90-degree, and then 180-degree. There's also a link to the product brochure, which is handy. That will allow us to review all of the bumper style items from Rockwood. And we're dealing with the 461. They also make the 461L. The only difference is you go from 3 5/8 projection to 4 5/8. So everything is just 1 inch longer. Why would you need that? Well, you might have a condition on the door where you need to place that in a particular location, or what's more common is that you have a condition in the ground or the floor that you need a longer leg to get the door held open. So if you have an exterior door, it swings out, you want to hold that door in the open position. Well, let's say that there's a typical 3/4 inch undercut when the door is in the closed position, but that concrete will pitch away so severely from your threshold area or your door area that a standard 3 5/8 is not long enough. You might also have a condition where a door swings out over onto a deck, and you might have a situation where you need the longest unit possible. So you'll use this only when you need to pick up extra length to accommodate what is happening below the door to the floor when the door is in the position where you want it to be held open. They do also make the 460 model, and these are just a cast aluminum in a aluminum color, a brass color, a bronze color, and then a dark brown color. The advantage of this is it's just simply less expensive. It's not made of brass, it's made of aluminum. Does not have nearly as robust construction, it just has a roll pin. If you're looking for the least expensive one, go with the 460. If you're looking for a high quality one that will give you an architectural finish, you want the 461 most likely, or possibly the 461L. The 459 is very common. This design goes back to the mid-20th century for sure. A plunger style hold open. You just put your foot on there and push it down. Replaceable rubber tip is the 461B as well. Okay. Now, let's see here. There's a link here to the manufacturer's page. Let's open up that document. And from that manufacturer's page, you'll be able to review not only all of the Rockwood products that we sell by means of the navigation here, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the most current full product catalog. Rockwood also has a comprehensive offering of architectural door pulls, 100 plus pages of variations of door pulls. So if you're looking for a relatively unique pull for your door or doors, whether it be wood or steel or aluminum, Rockwood has this very exhaustive offering of this material. Architectural base materials, leather, wood, rubber wrapped as well. Why would you want rubber on a door pull? Well, you know, in New Mexico in August, the last thing you want to do is reach up to a piece of stainless steel to pull the door open. So you'll use that when it's more comfortable. Leather is very good, good for many purposes, not only looks, but just functionality. And there's the wood, on and on as these options go. I would very much consider that to be a very comprehensive source of custom door pulls. Let's take a look here. A video here, me espousing why I like Rockwood or why I'm so partial to Rockwood. This would be an example of why. Other encyclopedic documents are here, such as the Rockwood Mounting Kit Parts Master Table. If you do have door pulls and you need bolts to hold that material together, that would be the document to review for that. Okay. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, this is a very high quality piece of equipment. Rockwood has a really tremendous command over the manufacturing process, and I say that because when I look at the finish, when I study what the finish looks like, it's, you know, it's unblemished. It's very, very well manufactured. They just do a great job with their plating and finishing. Very rarely is there any sort of concern about their caliber of quality when it comes to finish. It just looks beautiful. May satin bronze live on for several additional decades and centuries. If you have any questions on the Rockwood 460 and a 612 finish or any other Rockwood product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.